Okay, time for a little update. Before, when we left you, we had styrofoam was still in between the floor joists here. I shouldn't say styrofoam, it's a polyisocyrenate, I think. It's blue like styrofoam or styrene foam, but you notice it's sparkly. I don't know, maybe I changed my light here. It's sparkly. It's a lot like flour foam. And nowadays it's like a PP orange color with tinfoil on it commonly, or a black like paper product, but it had a decent R value. It has some of the most efficient R value by the thickness still today, but from what I understand, the R value diminishes. I don't know how. I haven't looked into that, but it apparently goes down over time. So there's that to factor in. Anyway, it was old school, whatever that is, 1 inch board. So what happened, or what was done here, was quarter round, which is 1/4 of a circle in profile. Quarter round, for whatever reason, it could have just been square. Normally this is a trim, this is decorative, but was put at a certain elevation throughout all the floor bays, and then the polyisocyrenate was cut to fit in between here and just sits down on top, and it affords you some R value, I suppose. But we ripped it all out of here, especially since it wasn't a really clean install. There were some major pieces, but then some minor cutoffs and junk was thrown in on top of it. So we got that out of here and we're able to stand. I've got a piece of the padding from under the carpet, which came from the area where the refrigerator is destined to be. That's working good to lie down here, and I selected the size of a hole in the floor based on how much I could get away with, and getting as close to peripheral things that once I'm lying underneath here, and I could see out a foot or two in every direction from this hole as well, which gets me close enough to the outside wall, etc., etc. So we're in here now. We've relocated our vent. The vent used to come straight down into the wall that defined the half bath. Now it does 45 degrees, lays against the Homoso at 45 degrees again, which we were lucky is round about the pitch of this roof. Not every roof is at 45, so we could have had to have solved this problem another way, but this is almost a 12-12 pitch to this. So we're 45-45, and then we got into the wall bay, and we can come straight down and through the floor plate, and that got us out underneath here, which you probably can't see real good, but that whole hog did a great job of blowing through that. And then our first rafter here that goes along the end of the home that was omitted or built around when they did this dormer here, we just hacked him off because we need to get past with the vent. It remains to be seen whether I want to supplement him, because there should be a little load coming down like that. I may add a little bit of structural support to that, but we needed him out of our way, and somebody had already carved away most of him here. For some reason there was some big chunk out of him, so we just continued. We set the circular saw up to 1.5 inches and just went as closely as we could to this stud on both sides and took that chunk out of here. We got our electricity roughed in. Well, not completely roughed in, but we got all of our boxes placed basically. We've got an adjustable side-to-side fixture above the, that can be tightened down with the screws in there once we know where we want it exactly. But we want a center line with our hand sink, yet to be determined, so we went that route. When you come into the bathroom, you got lights on and a fan on, whatever. There, this is our shower area. And this is the beam that deadheads all the rafters for the dormer. And in this area will be a little ceiling with a fan and light that evacuates the humidity from the shower outside. So we got to get him in place fairly soon. First switch, boom, inside the door when you come in. Gets your vestibule light, and then you take a few more steps here. And on the left, 1, 2, 1 will be the overhead. Where is it? 1, 2, 3, kind of like barn fixtures that like gooseneck come out and point down over the countertop. Whatever 2 will be on a beam that we're going to add. I'll show you that in a second. It sends 2 pendant lights down over the island. So you come in a little further to the place, you can kick on the kitchen lamps and stuff here. We've got a lower fixture box or outlet box for the stove itself. That'll be a 220 receptacle. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 110 outlets above, or 120 outlets above the countertop, and we may have a knee wall in here the way we've got a knee wall in for the laundry. And that'll end up with a couple outlets over the counter that'll be here. And we've got an outlet box to put in, obviously, for the refrigerator in this wall. But we've got this framed out and continued up. And we're going to do a cabinet here, and then the counter will just start. So we're waiting on the fridge, the real fridge, to be delivered so that I could be absolutely certain that everything fits comfortably and looks good. I think that those fitments, a lot of people build before the stuff shows up, and you certainly can leave room based on the cut sheets and stuff will fit, but sometimes it looks sloppy. There's too much gap or whatever, so I like to wait until at least the fridge shows up. And the laundry, we got a door that's going to happen here. We got a boom switch there, turns the light on, which we put over in this box here. We'll put a nice little sconce there that illuminates everything here. We've got the plumbing for the washer and the drain kind of roughed here. I have to get a couple more components because I want to come down into a trap over into an air admittance valve that works like a vent without doing a penetration through the ceiling. It's a Schrader valve that lets air be sucked in, which assists evacuating the fluid. But if you were to push up and out, it slaps shut and it won't let you push fluid out of it, and so there won't be any water laying back in here. But we don't have to go outside to atmosphere. It'll draw atmosphere out of this opening here, basically. So that will work pretty sweet. And we got some lower outlet boxes here. I think it's 110 for the washing machine because it just turns the barrel. The motor just turns the barrel. But the dryer is 220 because you're running a heating element and a fan and the motor for the barrel and everything. So we've got that stuff all kind of prepped. And as far as going across the ceiling for pendant lights, we're going to be on this rafter system, and we're going to make a shorter version of these collar ties / floor joists that we took out to loft the ceiling. I'm basically just going to put a fresh end on one so that he's shorter, so he goes up higher. And we've already done him up over here. There he is. Here he is upside down. Cut him a little bit shorter. Cut this central thing, whatever you want to call him. It's not a full piece of lumber, but it's just there to space these apart. So we put the back angle on him. So both ends are prepared based on measurements to go up and just stop at a certain elevation. And then we set up the hole saw and went down right through this little thin guy. And insofar as we could get before we popped out the remnant one time, and then because you bottom out inside of the hole saw, you run into the inside surface of it. You can't go any deeper, so we popped those out. And here I'll do this one as well. We'll just put the cat's paw on him, break him out of there, and that's what we did prior. And then we went a little bit deeper, and then I just did it again. So now we have the ability to put a nice octagonal fixture box right in there, and of course we can knock that out and plumb our wiring right in there. But we're going to set these up installed, boom boom, and then we're going to go up the stairs and set up a ladder arrangement and probably do 1 foot on the ladder, 1 foot on the second story, and just set it up in place, shoot one end, and check for, I may tape a level to it so it doesn't fall off, so I can watch the level and then get it where it looks good, shoot one end, and then dial the other end and shoot it as well with one nail on either end, and then do a more permanent, elegant structural, not that it, mostly just to be sure that it's held up and it doesn't go phoom and hit the floor someday. So we'll get him up there, and then we have a range hood that we're going to put in place, and with that we can pull wire. Well, one more thing, we're going to have the electrical service turned off and just move the panel to this location right here. Then we can pull wire. We'll get our everything home runs all back here. We'll have probably 2 circuits. Every other outlet box in the kitchen will be on its own circuit. The 220 circuit for the, probably put both 220. We have a big panel, so I'll put a different breaker for this stove and a 220 breaker for the whatever necessary equipment in here, and a separate circuit for these lights, bathroom lights, kitchen lights. And it's relatively simple wiring and plumbing in here. But our electrical's 2/3 roughed, and our plumbing has begun. And our client came out over the weekend and got some of this rough sawn fascia pulled around, and this is our new color. He got that brushed down there, so we're ready to shut electricity off because we have pre-colored fascia to go right up in place right before we route our new meter cable that comes from the service connection down to the meter box. We're going to put that down fascia as we said, so we wanted it pre-colored. But yeah, making pretty sweet progress here. stay tuned. I'll check it out, show you when the plumbing is kind of roughed in as well, and we'll be further on the electrical.